Hello, I'm Alicia Klein, a prevention specialist with the Council on Chemical Abuse, and welcome back again to our Facebook Live event. It's Prevention Week here, and we were hoping to let you know about our prevention specialist and get to know us a little bit, and then provide you with some tips and some tools and some skills that everybody can use every day in order to prevent substance use, right? Or to reduce the harm in substance use. So today I am here with our prevention specialist, Sonia Santiago. Hi, Sonia. I think you're muted, Sonia.
Sorry about that. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad that you could be here with us today. So tell us how long you've been with Coca.
Wow, do you really want to know? In 2005, I was hired, so I guess that's February. It was a little over 16 years now. Been with Coca.
Wow,
Yep.
that's a long time.
Yeah. I wore a lot of different hats since then. So,
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Like how did you end up at Coca?
well, I mean, I'm a graduate of the Alvernia University, and I had an advisor who was an awesome teacher as well, and they had recommended that I apply, and so I did, and it has been a wonderful experience since then. So yeah, it's been exciting.
So, would you like to share anything with us? Like, tell people like who is Sonia? Like, give us a little bit about like who you are, what you like, what you don't like, anything that we
um,
should be surprised to know about you.
yeah, well, I come from a family of 10. And usually, how I identify my sisters, my nine sisters, well, I should say eight because I would be nine, and my one brother is by numbers. So my brother is number nine, and I'm number 10. So I come from a huge family, and there's, I mean, we've lost track of how many nieces and nephews, or even how many we have. But I can tell you that we probably have maybe about 3 to 4 sets of 5 generations already. So just gives you an idea of how big our family is. And so I have been married to my husband, Dan, for 33. It'll be actually 34. I apologize. Coming up, it'll be our 35th in September, and been happily married. I have 2 grown children. My oldest son is 30, Daniel Jr., and my daughter, who just became a mother in April, and I'm so excited. Little Lorenzo has come into our life, and she is 28. So I'm so happy to have a total of 4 grandchildren, actually. So,
So,
and did you want to know about my schooling?
sure, absolutely.
My schooling is pretty exciting because a lot of people think that maybe after you get married and you have children, there's just no way that you can go to college. It's just the last thing from your mind, and that's not true. After I got married, my children and had my 2 children already, they were small. I decided to go back to college and never took a break in between, and started out at RAC and ended up graduating from Alvernia University. And then I even decided, maybe, I believe it was maybe 2 or 3 years, I went back for my master's. And um, so here I am today, a product of a non-traditional student who, if you want it, you get it. And there's no obstacles that'll be put in your way that you can't handle. So,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Tell us about prevention. What does prevention mean to you, and why is prevention so important?
One of the things before going to college, there was always something in my heart that I've always wanted to either do or become, or in some way or another to give back to the community. And I was like, I was born and raised in south side of Reading, and so I knew, if I wanted to go back to school, like I said, I wanted to give back, and how I wanted to do that was, ultimately what I'm doing today is providing and educating and teaching in a prevention kind of way. I know that there are other pieces when it comes to drug and alcohol prevention, when it comes to intervention, and other resources, but my passion was always prevention, and that's exactly what I'm doing today. So I'm
And you
very
do,
fortunate.
and you do a great job at it, I must say.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you. It's a, it's,
can,
it's a
can,
learning curve.
yeah, yes.
I mean, because, when I first started, it was just drugs and alcohol, right? Well, now we're into learning about addiction, sex addiction, gaming addiction, gambling addiction. So, there's just, constantly having to keep up and being educated so that you're able to provide this information to, our community. So that's important.
Can you tell us what a typical like work week looks like for you? What do you do?
A typical work week depends on the need. I mean, in this job, you really do have to be flexible. There's so many, facets, so many, areas of prevention. So one of the things that I am responsible for is for the marijuana diversion program, and it's in English, but I offer it. I teach it in Spanish. I also coordinate and I also am one of the facilitators for the You Decide program, which was known as the underage drinking program. I also do the tobacco training and also the tobacco checks. We go into retail stores and, with the youth and, we try to hopefully not get a sale, but unfortunately, it does happen. So that's another part of what I do. But in addition to that, we're constantly trying in the summer programs, as we're constantly coming up with ideas and how better to offer, education to the kids, whether in playgrounds, whether it be in the school setting. But of course, obviously with the way things are now, it would have to be virtual. So we create, presentations as well for, kids in school, high school, all the way up to college sometimes. So that's what I do. In
So how
addition,
can everyday people um, work in prevention? Like, what are some tips or um, tools or skills that everyday people can use in order to prevent substance use?
some tools are is kind of is to be, if to be supportive of one another. I know it's kind of hard right now to get in and to get, the help that you need, but if you have family members to talk about it, but also, reaching out, if you don't have those family members, is reaching out to, places like, the Council on Chemical Abuse, and just looking for resources and having people to guide you into where you can go for help. So, there are other many places, in the city of Reading, but we just have to, if you're not really sure, you could always, just, check out our website as well.
Great. And can you provide us with some tips as far as medication safety? That's a big issue right now, with the opioid crisis going on. And so, can you give us some tips that everyday people can do in order to prevent, um, you know, um, what's the word I want? Sorry,
Mhm.
mismanagement of medication and things like that.
To me, that's a really important topic to talk about because it's very personal to me, since it hit home with me. I have a mother who's 94 and actually, is living with me. But prior to her moving in with me, she had lived in a high rise with there were other senior citizens and other people with disabilities. And unfortunately, in the high rises, you will see this, and I know that it's not just where my mother lived, but in many other places as well. That there was a lot of sharing of medication that was going on amongst, the residents there. And that to me was a red flag. That was definitely something that she should not be doing. And because, of her age, she didn't know any better. So I think the important thing is we need to teach our elderly, and not just our elderly, but everyone in general, how important it is not to share medications and to take them exactly the way the doctor has prescribed to avoid any other, catastrophe as far as health issues that, the individual may have. So that's definitely really important. And so it's not just, sharing of the medication, but it's also, accepting, because sometimes the person may have the same symptoms, the same issues. And, the neighbor, down the hall may say, you know what, the doctor prescribed this for me and this is what works for me. You should try it. Definitely don't do that. That's not good because everybody's body is different. Everyone has different medical, issues going on, and it just may have a really significant, effect on the person. One of the other important things that I always like to share is to make sure, like I said, it's not just with the elderly, but also when you have little children. As we all know, toddlers love to put things into their mouth. Okay. So it's important to make sure that if you do have any medications, it's to make sure that you put them in a safe place, somewhere either high up, in a medicine cabinet or, away from, where kids can get a hold of. And, one of the things that we teach that is a project that I'm working on is that sometimes the medications can often look like candy. And so, no fault of their own, they may just put it in their mouth and, and think that it's, let's say a Tic Tac or maybe even a jelly bean or maybe even a gummy bear, when in fact it's something, a medication that they're taking. So, you know, just to add on to that, if you do have medication that you no longer are using, that are expired, no longer need, there are what, Coco offers are medication lock boxes. It has a little lock on it, a lock and key. It protects the medication, to prevent, these kinds of, things that could happen. It also prevents, the elderly, maybe with the onset of dementia that may not, that may forget or maybe take too much of it. So if it's locked, that could prevent that, from happening as well. So just a few little tips that, that I usually like to mention. There's also, is it the drop boxes as well? Those are located throughout Berks County. The one that I know for sure is in Reading, downtown Reading. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alicia, but I think that one's located at City Hall.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. So, I mean, if you do have medications, it's nice to go through them. If you no longer use them, it's good to just, drop them off and you could take them, in the same container. You don't have to, throw the container away and, so the whole container you can dispose of at the same time. So good tips.
Yes, thank you very much. I think,
Yeah.
and it's not hard or complicated. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Just little tiny
Yeah.
things that we can do every day that really can help, prevent, these issues of substance use and, um, substance use, it doesn't just affect the person, right? It affects us
Hmm.
all. And I think when we work together, we can save lives. So thank you very much for
Yeah.
joining me today. I thought those tips were excellent. And thank you for sharing your story with
Thank
I can't
you.
with
Thank you
10
for having me.
I can't even handle 5 siblings. You got 10.
And that's one of the best things about having a family. It's just knowing that, you're going to a party or a gathering and there's going to be a lot of people there. You don't have to be like, I wonder who's coming,
Right.
It's like, who cares? There's going to be people there anyways.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And I hope everybody joins us again tomorrow when we will meet our prevention specialist, Paige Carroll, tomorrow. So thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
having me.
you.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.